What's up, everybody? This is Brian from City Gone Fishing, and today we're going to talk about the Ugly Stik carbon rod as well as the Ugly Tuff reel. First, I want to say I'm not sponsored by anybody. These products I paid with my own pocket. Any logo that you see here is for reference use only anyway. So here it is. None other than the Ugly Stik carbon rod. For an Ugly Stik, you might think it's kind of expensive, like, oh, $80. But actually, it's a very good deal because it's a carbon rod. And they say it's 100% carbon all the way to the tip, which makes the tip sensitive for fish bites. And of course, they have a one-piece stainless steel guide, finally, because that was probably one of the weaker points of the GX2. I'm just going to flat out say it. I really, really like this rod, and I actually recommend it. So if you guys want to upgrade from the GX2, or if you're looking to get into fishing, but you want something that's better than GX2 so that you can use it for a long time, consider this, because it's light. I mean, it's light. It's just about as light as all my other rods that cost immense. As a matter of fact, here we go. It's about, so on my scale, as you can see, Ugly Stik carbon rod is 137 grams, which is incredibly light, because if you notice, the same medium heavy GX2 that I have here is 267, almost half, really. And just out of context here, look at this rod. This is the 6-gill siren rod, which is a $400 rod, and it's 100 grams. And of course, this is for light fishing, so I wouldn't put it through the same paces as a carbon rod. And this one here is the old 18 suppressor $300 rod at 113 grams. And just in case you're a little discouraged, you shouldn't be, because those are very, very close. Again, to put in context, here's a Gary Loomis Edge rod, one of the Delta models, medium. This one's medium heavy, so it's almost like apples to apples in a sense. This one is 133 grams, which is almost right there with the carbon rod. That thing is priced at $225. Although it's always on sale for like $160, but don't let that fool you. It's $160 plus excise tax plus state tax as normal. But the shipping is also $15. So you're going to pay like $200 anyway. So for $200, you're getting a comparably light rod. And to be honest, it feels very, very similar. To put it further in context, here's a Penn rod I have, the Spinfisher 6. And that thing, medium heavy, is 427 grams on my scale. They did such a great job with this rod. I can't even begin to express how happy I am with those. And on top of that, the carbon rod is significantly thinner. Let me show you. Because I don't have a way to measure the, how round it is. Here's what I did. I put some tape around. It's a gaff tape, and I cut where they meet. So if you guys take that off and put it together, wow, look at that. It's just night and day difference. The Ugly Stik carbon rod is so much thinner, and they're both 7-foot medium heavy rods. Here they are. Here is the GX2. Right? Probably the number one selling rod in America. I believe that's what it was. I know Ugly Stik is the most sold fishing rod in America. However, the GX2 is probably the most popular out of all of them. And here is the carbon rod. The first thing you will notice is that the reel seats have a significant upgrade in both design and function. So much thinner. When you actually have it in your hand, this is so much thinner and slicker, and just on the handle side alone, than the GX2. Design is so much better too, because these guys have these little woven texture to them, and it has a carbon fiber looking design. It's not carbon fiber probably, but maybe it is. But it does certainly looks like it. The grip and the handle, it's just a night and day difference, right? Even the balance on the rods are very different. So the Ugly Stik, for example, when I had to balance it on the scale, it seems to be centered around this point here, right above the handle, or the reel seat, if you will, right above the reel seat over here. So what happens is, while ideally this is where you want the balance to be, once you add the reel, though, it gets really, really back heavy. And the thing is, if you're like me, where you're holding onto the reel side, you will realize that it's so front heavy. And that's what I mean by, like, it just, and it just hurts my wrist and my fingers. Like, yeah, fingers. They actually get fatigued after like hours of casting and jigging. So for a 7-foot medium heavy rod at over 200 grams, it takes a significant toll. In fact, I use a medium 2-piece GX2 that I also have. And even then, it still hurts my wrist, or like I sometimes have to take Advil. The next morning, I'm just like sore all over my hand and my wrist. The carbon rod, however, seems to be balanced way forward. Like it had to be around here for me to balance this rod on my scale, which kind of makes sense because once you add a reel on here, then it shifts, you know, and then it becomes almost where you desire it to be. So casting and actually jigging, all that stuff is so much more balanced, and the fighting the fish is so much more fun because the stick is so light and you don't have to balance it as it whips around with your wrist as much. It's just that much more easy on the rest of the arm for me. I've always had weak wrist, even in the Navy. So anything to reduce the stress on my wrist and hands, that's always a welcome thing. It does come with a solid steel guide, which is a welcome addition because you guys know those ceramic pieces tend to come off every now and then. Although I kind of like that in the sense of like you're able to like kind of put something else in it. But this one, once you screw this up, I am not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do with it. I think although it comes with a 7-year warranty, so maybe you'll just send it back in for warranty. I got to test this rod. I caught quite a few fish on it. I got to cast and all that stuff. I had it stuck on a rock and then I just yanked it. You don't understand. I sometimes put my weight into it, lean back a bit. One time there was a bird that flew into my 12-foot rod, sending it overboard from the pier, and using this ugly stick, I was able to retrieve it, and the whole weight of that, it was able to carry the whole thing up. And it was amazing. And that's the thing about the ugly stick. I know there's a lot of hate the ugly stick gets out there, but the fact of the matter is I'm a ugly stick fan because of the confidence that it gives you. I don't have to worry about the rod so much. I don't have to worry about it at the back of my truck. I don't have to worry about it when I hit a tree, like, you know, when I'm casting. I don't have to worry that it got stuck on like some, you know, like grassy areas. I could yank it with confidence. And that's the thing about this. So this feels almost as good as my other $200, $300 rods. And yet it fills me with confidence that it will do its job it will do the ugly stick duty of being tough. Now, how tough is still in question. That's, you know, somebody's gonna have to stress test, and maybe I will on one of the videos. According to the ugly stick websites, it says it's about 37% stronger than other carbon rods. So I don't know what they're comparing it to. So literally, I guess other carbon composite graphite rods, I suppose. But if you take that literally, that's almost 40%. So that's a lot stronger. The graphite rods do fill me with a little bit of like, I don't know if they're gonna break. Sometimes I'm scared to even transport them. Number one breaker of rods are like car doors and transportations, you know. So it happens during transit. Ugly stick has always been about value to me. And this is no difference. I had a fish on here. I could feel the fish actually clamp on and take off. I felt that. And on another case, there was a seaweed, and apparently I caught a fish underneath the seaweed, and I felt the yanking, but I thought maybe the yanking was the seaweed and the waves tossing around. But it turns out the ugly stick was feeling the fish underneath the seaweed that was yanking at it. And that was incredible. Yeah, in terms of sensitivity, it might not be as sensitive as my $400 100-gram rod. But it's definitely a lot more sensitive than actually a lot of my other rods. The only thing I do not like about this, first of all, it is a very pretty rod, but their finish though is not all that dent resistant or scratch resistant. I've already dented and scratched it up, but I've abused this thing, and also in saltwater setting. To me, that's like the ultimate setting, right? Saltwater, pier. You're gonna have to catch the saltwater, some of the more demanding saltwater fish like a bonito. I'm also able to see if it could handle bringing the fish up from the water all the way over the rail. It's great, and it passed with flying colors. I would say, so out of the GX2 and the Ugly Stik carbon rod, so this is about $40, this is about $80, so it is twice as expensive. But I honestly think it's totally worth that upgrade for the 7-foot rod. Especially, you're gonna realize real quick that even though it's a 7-foot rod, that it's apples to apple. Like if you measure by the height of the pole, that they're both 7 feet, but because of the handle and the reel seat being further back, you're using more inches actually to cast. I am curious to find out how long this bottom part will last, because that's the part that I always break first on a rod, either the tip or the butt end. Now, when I purchased this the Ugly Stik carbon rod, I also purchased this Ugly Stik reel, which is Ugly Tuff. Ugly Stik actually doesn't have an official reel up until this point because it was that Shakespeare stuff, right? So I thought, what an amazing opportunity to test out both from the same brand, because I purchased them at the same time. I bought this for about $49. It's a 3,000 size reel, and it's definitely everything you expect from a fairly priced reel. I thought this was a pricey reel for $50, but I'm here to tell you, it's actually quite impressive. It is an all aluminum body and the rotor here. However, the spool is made of composite, which is not bad. It's not all metal. However, it's, all the important parts are definitely metals, aluminum. So I am very, very good with that. But it's heavy. I guess that's supposed to be a good thing for a Tuff reel, but it is heavy. Definitely not a good match for the Ugly Stik carbon rod, which is really, really, really super light. Maybe it's a better match for GX2. I mean, I know it's already weighty as it is. However, you know what? You expect that to be a little bit weighty. So if you need a Tuff reel, this might be the choice. If you look here, sorry for the shakiness of the camera, but on my scale, this came out to be 369 grams. To put that in context, here is a Penn Battle 2. And that is that is an all metal, carbon drag reel, and it's 162. And that thing, it has a fuller spool, and it's also 3,000 reel size. Not that they're all the same, but that gives you an idea of how weighty this guy is. It's heavier than the Penn Battle 2. To continue, here's a 6-kilo dreadnought at 370 grams. That is actually 5,000 size reel. So, and you can put it side to side, and it's actually significantly bigger, and yet it's about the same weight. This 3,000 size reel is about the same weight as that 5,000 size reel. Here's a Shimano Vanguard, and yet that thing is 229 grams. Now, of course, that's a $200 reel that is designed to be light and not all metal at all. To continue to put it in perspective, here's Penn Fierce. This one is a live line version, and yet it's 359 grams, still lighter. It's 2,500 reel size. Keep that in mind. This is the Shakespeare 5,000 size reel that came with the GX2. So I bought the GX2 in a bundle, and that's what it came with. And that thing is a monster, 421 gram. I hope that kind of brings you into perspective of how this is heavy, but is it super heavy? It's okay heavy. Is it light enough? It's okay. That's the best I can put it. It's okay. I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say it's bad. However, since they're going for toughness, the fact that this is about the same weight as the Battle 2 maybe is an indicator that it is indeed tough. But there's two issues I have with this reel. One is there is no reverse direction, so you can never go back. Just in case you're wondering, it is left and right hand retrievable. I know most spinning reels are like that, but I thought maybe this one didn't because this guy just wouldn't come off. It's kind of damaged for me using channel pliers to try and get it out, just so I could see that it works. But yeah, there's no reverse direction on this thing. Some people that's required, so keep that in mind. Other issue I have is a pretty big one, and I hope I say this pretty carefully because I don't want it to be a deal breaker, because as big of an issue as it is, it's not a deal breaker. The issue is that it feels flimsy and like a toy. You might be thinking, well, you just contradicted everything you said, Brian, because you said it's all metal and all that stuff. Yeah, it is. However, this part here is like a rubberized type grip, and maybe it has to grow on me, but it feels like a cheap rubberized toy to me. And on top of that, this has play, and I know a lot of them do, but it has a clicky play. And this handle has a play, and then this has a play. So when you... so while I was using it, even though it was a tough reel, it felt like a toy. Honestly, like I was using it with my carbon rod. It was super sexy, and I was like, what is this toy? And it felt like a toy texture too. And I'm sure they did that because this is tough. I mean, I bet you could grip it when it's wet. I bet it's not going to stain easily. I'm sure you could like probably scrape things off and it'll survive. And that's probably why they used it. But still, it feels like a toy. It clacks like a toy as I do it. And just to give an example of that, here is Pen Fierce. It's a much more smoother, right? All reels have play in them, especially this part here, because obviously it turns. But even with that, for a $40, $50 reel to have this much play in it, it it feels so flimsy. I feel like I'm gonna break it, even though mentally I know it's not going to, you know? So take that as you will, because I don't think that's an indicator of how untough the reel is. However, it still gives you that mental feel, and definitely does not fill you with confidence, and definitely does not make you feel happy about spending such a money when it feels like, do you hear that? You know, so Ugly Tuff, if you could make it feel tougher, that'd be great. And I don't know why you don't have that reverse. Maybe it makes it less tough. I don't know. But whatever it is, there you have it. The bail I had no issues with. I do like the rubberized texture on the back here. I don't know why other reels don't do it. After I saw this, because I'm always scraping this side, you know, like when you're backing your rods out, and when you're backing your rods out and hits, it's always hitting the handle, the bail, or back here. And back here is always scratched up, right? So the fact that they added this little like bumper guard thing, oh, it's great. The bail I expect to scratch and dent pretty soon. This, again, it seems like a sturdy material, but feels cheap. And the line capacity, they're all written nice and big on the reel and the spool itself. So it's really nice. To me, it may look a little tacky, but it's really a nice touch for me because I hate guessing that stuff. So there you go. There you have it. With that said, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to keep this with my carbon rod because I really like the carbon rod. Both of these together is about $120, $130 combo. So it is quite an investment. However, remember, that's for both. I have a rod that's $200, $300, as you know. And the cheapest one I have that is carbon is $130 just for the rod. So, yeah, and yet that it fills me with the confidence that I like. I not necessarily need, but definitely I like. I think this is a better deal. And definitely this is not going to be my first carbon rod from Ugly Stik. I'm going to probably buy it in different power. There you have it, the Ugly Stik carbon rods. It gets my stamp of approval. I absolutely recommend it. For the price, I don't think you can beat it. It is of high value. Don't listen to the haters. If you're looking at it, get it. All right, so that was my first real, I think, product review with a full testing and all that. I'm going to continue to do more test videos and more review videos, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And by no means, I'm not a professional fisherman, but I do like to fish, and people have asked me for my thoughts, so I hope you found this video helpful. And if you have, please like and subscribe so you don't miss other videos. Thank you, and see you next time.